In this lesson, we're going to look deeper into some built-in methods that are available within JavaScript. So first of all, let's create a string, and I'll just call it my string, and
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
just put JavaScript in there. So we have a string value, and we can actually console log out, and we can get some information of the value that's contained within the string. So let's say, for instance, we want to get the length of the string. This represents the length that's available within the string. So we can see that it's actually got 10 characters there. So this is how we can find what values are within the string. We can actually get an index value, much like we did with the arrays, where we've got a specific value of the string. We can slice strings as well. So let's do a quick slice of it, where we just console log that out. So we can do it's called string slice, and slice is the method. So it extracts a section of the string and returns a new string. So basically, let's slice it out there, and let's slice out at starting position. We know we had 10 characters to work with, and ending position 5. So let's see what gets output now. So we see that we've got starting position 2, so 1, 0, 1, 2, all the way to 3, 4, and ending at 5. So we've got VAS, and that's what gets output there. So we're able to slice out different parts of our string as well if we wanted to. We can also return back parts. So if we want to return out part of the string, just returning back numerically, so we're not really sure how many characters we have left, but we can start at position number 2, and we can return back, let's say, 3 characters, or maybe we'll do 4, and we'll just change that to 3. So there is a difference between what gets output here. So we see that at this time we're starting out at V, so we're starting out at 2, and we're returning back 4 characters, so we could do even 7 if we wanted to, and that would return back that chunk of the string. We're also able to replace parts of the string as well. So if we wanted to do a replace of it, so let's do variable a, and what we're going to do is do str. So again, remember that if we want to return these back as variables, we can set them as we've done over here, variable. So this time what we're doing is replace, and it returns a new string with some of the matches of the pattern replaced by a replacement. So the pattern can be anything. So let's specify the first, we specify the pattern that we want to see, and then we want to so if we want to return back, so let's say, for instance, we want to look at all the A's, and we want to return back and update all of those A's. G is just, so it's the slash and then the characters that we want to replace, slash again, and G just specifies that these are global flags. We'll look through the string and globally match any and return those, and let's just change these to a bunch of W's. And now let's console log out whatever the value of A is going to be. So let's see what this looks like. Go out, refresh it, and we see that all of those A's, so the 2 A's, actually got replaced with the 5 W's within that string value. And of course, we didn't change the actual string value, so that one is still the same. So if we were to console log that out, we would still have that original string value there. So just to show you. Done here is that we've specified for variable A, and this is the value, so we've assigned a value to variable A. We can also update content within the string, so we can do things like to uppercase, we can change it to lowercase. So essentially it changes all the values to uppercase. So that was just I forgot the rounded brackets there because this is a method. So let's refresh that, and we can see that now it changes the string value to uppercase. We can also do lowercase if we want. So it changes all the values to lowercase. So let's refresh that. And same thing as we did with the uppercase, gives us the ability to change to lowercase. So quite a lot of power there with what we can do with strings. Also with numbers, we have a built-in some methods there within the numbers. Potentially, not a lot of them. The one that you probably use the most of is if you change a number to a string. So you have the ability to change a number to a string, and I'll just show you how to do that. So if we have a variable and it equals b equals 5, and let's just change that variable. So if we console log out b, this is going to be a numeric value, and let's just change that numeric value of b, and let's change it over to a string. So we're going to use the method to string, so returns a string representing the specified number object. And again, remember those rounded brackets there at the end because this is a method. So refresh it, and we see that now it's no longer a numeric value, but it's a string value. So string values within the console, they show up black, the numbers show up as blue. So we also have some mathematical functionality within JavaScript, so let me show you how to do that. So we've got some mathematics here, and maybe let's say for instance we have a value of 5 point, and we want to actually round this value. We can do a math round, so it returns the value of the number rounded to the nearest integer. So instead of 5.223, it's going to be 5 point, or just a 5. We can also round up and round down. So rounding up to the nearest integer is ceiling. Rounding down is floor. I'll just show you those values there. So this one, the first one rounded it to the nearest one, which was 5, because 5.2 closest is 5. Here we're rounding it up to 6. There we're rounding it down to 5. So we have the ability to force where it's rounding those. Also with math, we're able to create random numbers. So this is another really cool functionality within JavaScript, that we can create these random numbers. So let's do random, and returns a floating number, so 0 to 1, and we'll just get rid of that value there. So show you what happens when we do math random. So we get a really large number there, and every time we refresh we get a different number. So notice that 0 dot, and then it's got that large number. So if you want to get, for instance, 0 to 10 or 0 to 9, you'd have to multiply that random. So we could take math random, we could multiply it by 10 to get a value from 0 to 9, and or 0 to 10, and if we want to make sure that we're doing a maybe a 1 to 10, we just do a ceiling here of that value. So now we're combining multiple methods, and that's another thing with JavaScript. When you really start working with JavaScript, it's always a good idea to practice it out and see what different methods you can combine and see what you can make happen with these different combinations. So see here, now we're returning a number from 0 to 100. Let's say we want to do a number from 0 to 10,000. So we could do that way as well, all the way up and all the way down, rounding it up and down. We could also round it down if we want to floor, so that returns a number of 0 to 10,000. Otherwise it would be 1 to 10,000 if we're doing ceiling. So that's the difference there of the different numbers that get returned. We also have the ability to get date. So if we, for instance, wanted to output the date value, or maybe we'll do it in another variable. So DA, and we're going to set and pick up a value for date, and then console log out. So I'm just demonstrating that we can contain all of these values within variables as well. I'm just outputting them within the console so it's easy to see. We see that right now that's the date all the way down to the second when we're producing this video. So we can pull back and utilize that date object in a number of formats within JavaScript. So in the next lesson, we're going to look at conditional statements. And these are a great way to apply some logic and have different actions based on what the response is for the condition that we're looking to match. So that's coming up in the next lesson.